Hi everybody, and welcome to my first mini lecture, which is to summarize and explain the main takeaways from this unit. The idea here, my teaching philosophy is that I try to construct these mini lectures in a way that addresses the full spectrum of participation in the module and explain and answer questions in context to that with the larger picture. So what you'll be seeing in this summary, you might think about is the same as in a bricks and mortar class, where you review, where the instructor reviews the main takeaways and points for a final exam at the end of a unit. That's what we're doing here, and I try to structure it so the timing is inclusive of everybody. I try to time it so everybody has the opportunity to post something, and if I see something of interest that I can use it in context. So I'm sorry to the early posters. I'm sorry to the middle posters, but you know, it really has to be fair and has to be inclusive. So you know, work ahead. Feel free to work ahead if you're done, and just like in a regular class, when we're done with the unit, we summarize it. So with that explanation of my teaching methodology, method to my madness, I want to tell you that this unit is and this mini lecture is designed not to just focus on this summary, but to be able to transition into takeaways that you're going to be applying to the next unit, and the learning outcomes and learning goals that are there, which are very pragmatic, very hands-on, and I'll explain that in a minute, which I think you will appreciate and it will click for you. So that said, in context, background, backstory, reference to what we're covering, how we're doing it, and its transition to the next topic or next unit, I want to get into the conversation that was the dominant or the consensus of the class, and the last post being last night, just before 9 o'clock at night. So you know, we've got a good coverage here, and the dominant point really is I think well summarized by Leora in her first reply to Charlie, where she said that there seems to be a inexorable and immutable diametrically opposed perspectives between the C-suite, meaning higher executives, and employees. You know, and to an extent, that is 100% correct and irrefutable. And it illuminates the model, which I'm going to build on and build on that point, because she was replying to Charlie's point, which was a little more nuanced, that one of the takeaways here was the reconciliation between management and employees, acknowledging there's a complex and oppositional relationship of managing performance and controlling costs. So I thought these points in this discussion was really emblematic of the overall topic, which is part of the takeaway. But what I want to get at is in this mini lecture is that's not the whole takeaway. So what's the main point to summarize, and how is that applicable to your thinking and the application of your thinking and to a real life case and your analysis of that, applying the analysis or the explanation that I am going to provide you here in the rest of this mini lecture. So given the context of the conversation between Charlie and Leora, what the purpose of that pay model is to provide guidelines and benchmarks and be able to provide data points that can be measurable, quantitatively measurable, to be able for third parties, not necessarily just employees, but people who care about employees, including board of directors, yes, employees, stakeholder groups such as watchdogs, government watchdogs, our industry watchdogs, industry associations, labor groups such as Teamsters that are negotiating pay and benefits, and other third-party stakeholders who have a genuine interest in the use of the pay model as a moral structure to hold this corporation accountable. Now, it is guidelines, and yes, it can be dismissed because, as Charlie said, managing costs is the one of the ultimate concerns. But as you read in the Medtronic case, you know, that's not every corporation, and there's lots of corporations out there who use these guideposts to achieve that far right column you're going to see in the next mini lecture, which are the objectives: fairness, equity, ethics, compliance. All of these are really what the pay model is about. And I think it's such a great takeaway to highlight and to be able to build on, because that's what the analysis you want to apply in the Burger Boy case, which is based on real life of retail employees, and it is a real case study that has been documented. And so when you practice the professional terminology and understand the pay model, and you take that analysis that we're talking about here and the vocabulary we're talking about here, and you're applying it to the Burger Boy, and you're using and practicing the analysis, the terminology, the benchmarks, the data points, and you have a fluent professional vocabulary that is used in the compensation world, not a layman's terminology that's the same, but is not the professional vocabulary. You have the opportunity to develop some tools that you can take out of here and apply to negotiating your own wages, negotiating your benefits, advising your partner, your friends, your relatives, or as management, trying to get the better deal for your employees to improve the bottom line by getting more performance, as opposed to cutting costs and ruining morale by taking away from employees. So you see that the contrast here. So the conversation between Charlie and Leora was emblematic of that. But now we have the discussion of really the ethics of that, and instead of coming back and saying, yeah, you're losing productivity and the employees are at a stalemate with a management. Now what we're saying is the pay structure ethical? Is it moral? Does it treat people fairly? Is it discriminatory? Does it provide a living wage? And you see that play out in elections, this election cycle, talking about the minimum wage in Illinois. And so you see the application here and how the mainstream discussion about corporate America in Illinois has a compensation thread to it that's totally pervasive. Do you want to participate in that discussion? Do you want to use that discussion as a tool to practice what you learn in this class? So that's really the point of the pay model here. So looking at that last column, that far right column, we see that these issues can be these issues of equity, fairness, ethics, all can be addressed and used as tools, are levers of power in order to free employees from that stalemate, or to be able to inform the management of ways to reward employees for more productivity, for greater savings, for greater management of costs by the employees, of reducing waste, so that their profit sharing or their rewards are improved. And now we have a model ethically based and morally based of employees and employers working together as a team to improve the outcome for everybody. My point being is the Medtronic case. Let me cite the Medtronic case for you, and how the Medtronic case goes over and out of its way to provide the best, to provide the very best opportunity and money to the employees to attract and retain the best. That's what it's about. That is how to use it on the positive side. And now when we look at the Burger Boy case and you apply it to the Burger Boy case, now you see problems. Now you see problems where this needs to be applied and the problems can be resolved. And so build your vocabulary. Use the vocabulary the professionals use. Use it to take away from two real cases, Medtronic and Burger Boy. Contrast them and look at those learning points and use that vocabulary to go to help someone, to help your company, to help your employees, to help yourself, to help your friends, and be able to understand that these objectives that we're summarizing about the end of this unit go more than the conversation. And so I'd urge you to employ these, to use them, take them away, and now I think you might be able to sort of see sort of the method to my madness and the reason why I'm encapsulating this in the end, to transition to the next model, to include everybody. Really, we're talking about a social justice mission here, and using the model, the math, the benchmarks, all, yes, granted, all which can be dismissed by management, but guess what? Management's going to get sued. The corporation is going to be sued by employees who are being discriminated against, by stakeholders who are looking out for their best interests, and politicians who are leveraging it as a wedge issue between conservatives and Republicans. So you see a society on a bigger scale. You know, this is huge, friends. This is huge, ladies and gentlemen. So that's the takeaway. With that, I'm closing out Module 1 discussion. With that, if you've participated, I'm glad for you to get points. And if you have not participated, I hope you can view this summary and make up some points and gain full points towards the end of the class. So this is the end of Module 1, and we are moving on now to a mini lecture highlighting and discussing the pay model, application to Module 2, and we're done for this module. Thank you for your attention and have a nice day.